So yes, good morning students. Today we will start our class 10th chapter 8, and that is why do organisms reproduce. So before starting, there is a little question. Like you must have seen so many people around you. Like Earth is filled with people, and India is the most populated country also, as you must have heard. Like first is China, then there is India. So how how are there so many humans? Like how do they exist? What is the reason behind their existence? We all have to discuss on this topic, and we will be studying about this topic, like how so many organisms they exist, the process. You can all give your answers, like what is the process involved in their existence. Okay. um, yes, some of you might say it is reproduction. Okay. Yes, the correct answer is reproduction. As you have also seen in the earlier classes, you have read about the process that is reproduction. So now we will move on ahead. As you can see, these are the examples of so many people. Different kinds of people are there. Some have white skin color, some has like a darker skin color, and some have curly hair, some have black hairs. These are the different features also present in different organisms. And this comes our next question. Like why do organisms reproduce? Like why there is a need for organisms to reproduce? Like, will it be okay if they don't reproduce? Okay, we can think of many different reasons. Like if they do not reproduce, what will happen is the organisms might finish on earth. There will be no one left. Okay, same goes with the animals also. Yes, this may be one of the reason. What else can be the reason? Different reasons. Okay, like maintaining life on earth is one of the reason. Then what else? Mm-hmm. Like for the existence of earth itself, the organisms also need to be present. Okay, then only the planet will be called as habitable. If there are no humans, then maybe there may be some changes, like no humans or no animals, then there must be some changes also. So this is all about like the different reasons of organisms, like why there is a need for organisms to reproduce. So now moving ahead, as you must have gotten the idea what we are about to study, that is reproduction. So what according to you is now reproduction? You can also read the definition that is written on the board, like a process by which new individuals, you have to remember this, new individuals, okay, this is the important word, new individuals are produced by the parents. Like in this picture you can see like this lady, it is a she is a parent and she gave birth to a new individual, that is this baby. This baby right here is the new individual. So this is all reproduction about. If you have any doubt, please tell, you can ask your doubt in the comment box. Now we will move on ahead. Okay, coming to our next slide, we will see the different reasons that why do organisms need to reproduce. So first point is like the process of reproduction ensures that a plant or animal species does not disappear from earth, right? The species does not disappear. This is the main point. So yes, what are the two main first main point for organisms to reproduce? Like species they do not disappear. Disappear. This is one of the main reason. Like this is the reason, main reason for an organisms to reproduce. And what is the second reason? Let's come to the second point. The process is very important in maintaining stability in the ecosystem, right? Maintaining stability in the ecosystem and for the continuation of life on Earth. So yes, what are the two main other reasons? Like maintaining stability. Yes, as you know, that all organisms are important for Earth. If there will be an absence of a single organism, there will be so much chaos in the whole ecosystem. So for the stability. Okay, so this was the second point. Okay, what was the third point? Like for organisms to reproduce, the reason behind it is the continuation of life on Earth. Yes, the continuation of life. So these three are the main important points or the main important reasons for the organisms to reproduce. First is do not so that like the organisms they reproduce because so that the species they do not disappear. There is a stability in the ecosystem, second point, and then there is a continuation of the life, so that life remains on earth for a longer period of time. So these are the three main reasons for the organisms to reproduce. So this was all about reproduction and why is it necessary. So now moving on ahead, what will happen if no reproduction occurs? So now we are coming to this point. Like what will happen? You all know now the importance of reproduction from these 3 points. Now just think like what will happen if these organisms they do not reproduce. Okay, you may think that life may disappear from the earth. Yes, organisms may disappear from the earth. Not only humans, not only animals, plants may also disappear, insects and other organisms also may disappear. So it will our earth will become more inhabitable, I guess. Yes, this is one of the reasons. What will happen if no reproduction occurs? So yes, we will now move on ahead, coming to the question part from what we just discussed right now. We discussed about reproduction, we discussed like why reproduction is necessary, and we also discussed like what will happen if reproduction does not occur. So now there is a question based on reproduction. Like reproduction is essential for living beings in order to keep the individual organism alive, fulfill their energy requirement, maintain growth, and continue the species generation after generation. So for this question, you have to answer in the chat box. Uh, we will now move on ahead with our today's class. Okay, so now, yes, you all must be very excited when you see some celebrities that you like, right? So now we will do a little activity. So we will move on to our next slide. Okay, so here you can see two celebrities and you have to name them. Okay, so first is Shah Rukh Khan. Yes, the one wearing the specs like me, though the specs are not same. Yes, and second is I think his name is Aryan. Aryan. This is Aryan Khan and this is Shah Rukh Khan. So Aryan Khan is the son of Shah Rukh Khan, right? So do you see any similarities between both of them? Like anything similar? Yes, kind of. Their nose is somewhat similar, and their eyes portion, like their face is somewhat similar. We can just figure out from their face that yes, they both are related, right? So yes, this was what I was about to make. Like this was about like I was guessing this answer from your side. So now we will move on ahead. Okay. So first, before moving on ahead, I will show you a little video. You have to observe that video and then you have to come up with your observations like what you watched in that video. So yes, I'll show you some videos. Please let it load. It's taking some time. I think the network is slow. So I will skip the ad. I don't know why it's happening. It is somewhat slow. I don't know why it is happening. I will make the video a little bit faster from where our topic is about to start, and then we will move on ahead. Yes, it is a small topic. You all will enjoy it, I suppose. Okay, so yes, from here our video actually starts. Okay, so now I will stop the video and we will move on to a slides part. So yes, what did you observe in that video? Yes, the video was about DNA and it told us like what functions DNA play. That is like it helps us in inheriting trait from our parents to their offspring. Yes, it may decide upon the hair color, the eye color, or any feature that we get from our parents. So yes, this was the main function of DNA. Like it carries on the genetic information from one generation to another generation. So yes, we saw important function of DNA and what it is made up of, like nucleotides and their phosphate groups, and all these things, different things were there in this DNA. Okay, so now this was all about the video. You must now you can link this video with this picture also. Like the DNA is causing the traits from Shah Rukh Khan to pass on to his son Aryan Khan. So this was all about DNA. So now we will move on ahead. So now the question is, do organisms create exact copies of themselves or not? Okay, exact copies means totally they are totally similar to one another. So this is my question. Okay, so yes, you have to discuss on it. Like, do organisms create exact copies of themselves? Okay, as you saw the example of DNA, they were not exact copies, but something was similar, right? So before moving on ahead, what we will do is we will discuss something more. Like, yes, this is going to be our topic for right now for our second module. That is, like, do organisms make similar copies of themselves or not? And if they are making, how they are making, the different process involved in it. So yes, we will read in more details. So now coming on to this diagram. In this diagram, as you can see, there is a cell structure, right? This whole is a cell structure. And in this cell structure, there are different cell organelles like the plasma membrane, the mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi bodies, as you have read in your previous classes. But we will mainly focus on the nucleus part. And why? Because this DNA that we saw in the video is present in the nucleus, right? So DNA, what is the definition of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. And the structure of DNA is double helical structure. This is the double helical structure of DNA. As like you can see, these are the two strips that are present in DNA. So this is the reason why it is called a double helical structure. So this was all about DNA. Some main information like where it is present and how it looks like. So now we will move on ahead. We will see some more details about DNA. Like yes, as you can see, like here, this is the blueprint of DNA. Like double helical structure is there. As double helix, you can see one is this and one is this helix. So now what else we can see? Like it is present in the nucleus, as this is the nucleus, this is present in the nucleus, and then DNA is a kind of a protein, right? So this is all something about some more additional information about DNA. We will now move on ahead and we will coming to our next slide. Let's see what else we can see. Okay, so before moving on ahead, so as you all know that our body is made up of a basic unit that is called as cell, right? The cell contains a nucleus. As you all know, in center there is a nucleus which carries genetic information for the next generation in the form of DNA. So this was all about DNA, where it is present, its location, right? And the full form for DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. So we can say that the fundamental process of reproduction is DNA replication. So if DNA will replicate, then only reproduction will happen. So this was all about DNA. And we will see some more details, like when a reproducing cell commences division, it primarily starts to make a replica, uh, to make a replica of its DNA. And then this DNA will be transferred from its parent organism to its offspring organism. Only then there will be a transfer of the genetic information, then only the organism will reproduce. So this was all about DNA. And also one last important point, that DNA is a type of a protein. This was all about DNA. Now we will move on ahead. Okay, so now there is a question in front of you, that what is the importance of DNA in copying in reproduction? Okay, so yes, it is something very, like, yes, you have to think very hard on this question. Like, what is the importance of DNA copying in reproduction? It is related to the first picture we saw. Yes, you can give answer based on the first picture. Okay, the DNA helps in the copying of the genetic information from the parents and then transfer it to the offspring. So that's the only way through which the reproduction occurs. And you have to find some more reasons. And you can also write your answers in the comment box. So now we will move on ahead and see some more questions, right? One more question is there. So the characters that are transmitted from parents to offspring during sexual reproduction shows only similarities with parents, only variation with parents, both similarities and variation with parents, neither similarities nor variation. Okay, so now I will wait for 5 seconds. You have to answer till then. You can also write your answers in the chat box, as I will not be giving this answer, because now you all know some basic information about DNA. Okay, so now we will move on ahead, and there are some interesting concepts that we are about to learn in our third module. Okay, so now, yes. So now, do you like exactly look like your parent? Like many of you must have heard from your relatives that yes, you exactly look like your father, or you exactly look like your mother. So how many of you have heard it? Yes. Okay. Okay. Not everything, but some things they matches. Like in my case, I have similar nose like my father, and my skin color is similar to my father. So these are some details that are similar with me and my father. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, so this was all about. We will come to our topic for our third module. So yes, this was the first question that we just discussed. Okay, so now moving ahead. Yes, before moving on to our proper topic, we will watch a video. Okay, so now I will be playing a video. You have to watch it carefully, and then you have to share your observations, like what you watched in the video, right? So now it is taking some time to play, as I don't know why. Again, even after opening again, it is still playing the ads. After some time, I will just skip the ads as fast as possible. So, okay, so yes, now I will stop the video. Yes, what did you understood from the video? Yes, it was talking about variation, and in like there were different kinds of dogs, right? So yes, what was the video talking about? It was talking about variation, and where we saw these variation in the dogs, right? So do you see these variations only in the dogs or in humans also? We see in humans also. We see in plants also these variations. Yes. So yes. So our topic that we will discuss today is variation. So why do you think these? What different kinds of variation did you see on in all those dogs? Yes, like some had long ears, some had short ears. A different fur color was there for every dog. Different eye color was there. Yes. Okay. So yes, different heights of the dog. So these were the different variations that were in those showed in the video. Right. So now we will see like why this variation is so important that we see it everywhere. Among humans also we see variation. Like some have straight hairs, like some have curly hairs, some have different eye colors, skin color difference. So these are different variations. So why is it important? So first point is using the ability to reproduce, living organisms increase their population and feed on available resources in their niche. Okay, so now as you all know that living beings try very desperately to live, and in that process what they do is they feed on anything or any resource that is available around them. So we will only use the food that is like around us, that easily we get that is easily available. So this is one of the main causes of variation, like the different eating habits or the feeding habits of organisms, right? This changes in the DNA and body designs may result in difficulty to sustain themselves in their habitat. Okay, so this is also second point, that is the importance of variation is it comes through first the different feeding habits, and second, like there must be different DNA structure, DNA information must be different, passed on from parents. Different information must have been passed on from one parent to one parent to their offspring. Yes, so this must be the second reason. So yes, so now we will see some more reasons for variation. Right, so there are three main important reasons. So first is temperature, second is climate, and third is the availability of resources. So these three are the main points that causes variation. First is temperature, like as you have seen, the people that are living in South Africa, like or the African part countries, like they are more towards the black side. Their color is more towards the black side. Why? To protect them from the heat, because there is too much heat present in those countries. Whereas the people, those who live in the snowy areas or the mountain areas where it snows a lot, they are like fairer in color. So this is one of the variation caused by temperature. Same happens with the climate and the availability of resources. So yes, what were the three main features that helped in the variation process of organisms? First is the temperature. Okay. Second is the climate. And third is the availability of resources. Availability of resources. So this was all about variation and why is it caused. Okay, so now we will see some more details. So now thermophilic bacteria are variants that are resistant to extreme temperature. Like there are some bacteria, they can live under extreme temperatures also. This is the variation that was caused on them for their survival, right? So that they have higher chances to live in the temperate zone in which the others will die. So this is one of the variation that helps them to live easily. So now there is a little question like why is variation beneficial to the species but not necessary for the individual? For this, you have to answer in the chat box like why. Okay, so now we will move on ahead. Now coming on to the evaluation part question, explain how variation occurs. Okay, how? The three main points that we discussed, what were the three factors that affected variations? Yes, I also wrote it on blackboard. What were the three? Temperature, climate, and availability of resources. So these three were the main factors that explained why variation occurs. So this was all about today. Coming on to the recapitulation part. So today we discussed why do organisms they reproduce? Second, do organisms create exact copies of themselves or not? We discussed this. And the third important point that we discuss is the importance of variation and the different factors that helps in the process of variation. This was all about the recap. So now moving on to our homework part. So these are some questions that you have to do as your homework, and then there is this activity. First, you have to watch this video on how peppered moth survived through variation, and then you have to write your observations and prepare a report on it. So this is the moth that will be shown in the video. You have to watch it and then you have to prepare a report. Yes, this was all about today. Thank you. Have a nice day. We will meet in next class.